Hello, everyone. Great to see you all here yet again. Welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour. It's going to be a fun and interesting session today. Got a little bit of a surprise for us. And actually, I'm going to hop on my other computer here to turn something on, and then I'll give a bit of an introduction, and then we'll get going. So I'll be right back. Yeah, welcome everyone who's just showing up. I'm off camera here for a minute, just getting something else started on my other computer. This is Piano Tech Radio Hour. For those of you that are new to this, we are, of course, live on Facebook and YouTube, as we often are as well. So hello to anyone and everyone out there watching on Facebook and YouTube. And we will get started in just a minute. But just getting something set up here. Almost there. Okay, and we got a few more folks that are entering as we speak. See Alan Etter here once again. Great to have Alan here. Might not be able to hear us yet, but see Alan's joining. Jim Kelly, Todd Harris, Johan Krebs, Bill Magnuson, Donna Bird, Kevin Clem, Calvin Wong. Great to see you tuning in from across the planet there as well. And yeah, give me one second.
Recording in progress.
Okay, cool. I'll be kind of beaming in from my other computer today, and you'll see why. So it's about a couple minutes after. I'm sure a few other folks are going to enter, but we should probably get rolling. And we'll do that in just a second. I'll give an intro to the session, and then we'll proceed with today's special content. Okay, cool. Dave Skolnick, great to see you here. Cool, awesome week. Lots of great folks here. Some folks I haven't seen in a little bit, and I think we'll appreciate the content of today's session as well, given that fact. So I'll give a formal introduction to the program, and then we'll get into today's topic. So welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour, and this is, of course, being brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses, an online educational resource that offers you cutting-edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. You can find out more about that at www.pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. And now today we have a very special and unique treat. We are going to go way back into the archives of Piano Tech Radio Hour. Well, I would say even before Piano Tech Radio Hour was officially launched. So it was sometime, I think, actually it was April 4th, 2020. David and Anderson and I got together to show support to our fellow technicians within the piano industry with the very first ever attempt at an online conference for the piano industry. Now, we went on with Piano Technicians Masterclass to do a bit more formal online conference, but this particular online conference was really thrown together, in sort of this crazy world that we were living in at the time. It turned out great, and then we went on to do some more formal online conferences, but I think it'll be great to go back and visit. I want to go back and take a look at that session. It will put a lot of things in perspective, I think, and I think we're going to get a lot out of it. Now, that particular day, we actually spent over 5 hours straight with each other. I say each other, whoever was there, a lot of piano technicians, and we had well over 100 piano technicians online for this conference. I believe we could have had 150 or more. I'm just being conservative there. But it was quite a few of us coming together in what was a very interesting to say the least time. I want to choose a special moment within that 5+ hours, and that is where David Anderson came in for his segment of the day. We'll start the video just before that to give you some context, and we'll let it roll pretty much from there for the session today. I hope you all enjoy it. I hope you all get a lot out of it. And of course, feel free to communicate in the chat as we watch. All right, so without further ado, I think we should get rolling. I'll pull up the video. I'll set it to play, and then we'll check back in once we've watched a little bit. All right, so give me 1 second. Oh, we got a little something in the chat. What is the temperature where I am? It's 31 in South Carolina. I do not know what the temperature is where I am actually, but it's been pretty cold lately. It actually looks like it's a little warmer right now outside, but I'm in Chicago area, so I don't know. I think it's it's at or slightly above freezing maybe. My neighbor actually has a hockey rink they built in their backyard, which, interestingly enough, pretty cool, taking advantage of the freezing temperatures as of late here. Good question. Okay, cool. Let me get this going here, and we'll rock and roll. Let me make sure I'm sharing my audio here for sure. There we go.
Great. Let's see here. Here's another question. I have a question. I've had a couple of pianists notice the beat in a double octave with a pure 12 tuning. Now I lean to putting a half beat in the double octave. How would you justify it to pianists if they notice a beat in the double octave?
Well, that's a difficult question. Let me just say, in Cybertuner, our default setting for the double octave, as we're doing our pure 12s, is 6/10 of a beat in the double octave. So, a half a beat is a good, nice way in pure 12 tuning. No one's going to complain about a half a beat. The larger issue is how do you handle when people criticize your tuning or want it to be slightly different? And after all, we work for artists who, by definition, they can hear and they can feel better than I can. And so I want to pay attention to what they think. But you have to present yourself with enough self-confidence and gravitas so that you're into what you believe. And you've got to balance being open to critique with an assuredness so that they trust what you're doing. And so, what's the right way to do that? That's part of who we evolve to be. When I started out, I knew less. Maybe I was sophomoric and I thought I was better, but then I went through periods of self-doubt. I still have periods of self-doubt, but I've kind of evolved to where I feel confident enough about what I'm doing that I can defend what I do. But if someone, I had a situation years ago before I was in a recording session and I was tuning for Chick Corea, and Chick Corea played my tenths in the 5th octave, and he said they're too fast. Slow them down. He's one of only 2 people I think have ever said anything like that to me. And what am I going to say? No, Chick, you don't get it. I know what I'm doing. The answer is, yeah, I kind of reined in my stretch a little bit because he's right and I'm wrong. So, how we handle things like this is kind of the sum total of who we are as a piano technician and who we are as a person. That's the right way to handle it.
Oh, good answer.
Yeah, there's been quite a few comments rolling in, but I think that's the majority of the solid questions, especially in the interest of time. Yeah, we can move on to whatever we want to make the next thing be, considering our little bit of a shift in timing. But that's probably David, right?
Well, I thought we were going to have like a round.
Yeah, do you want to have, so we're going to have a round table between all of the presenters, and I think we were going to do that after your portion of the presentation, David. If you want to do it before, or if you want to roll into it.
Schedule I saw, but I don't care. Absolutely.
Oh, let's do.
Go now.
You guys pick. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make a lot of things work. I'll make an update actually, just for everyone to know. We're at 296 participants right now, which is pretty awesome. And I can see there's at least a handful of people watching on YouTube. It says there's 50 people watching on YouTube right now. I don't know if some of them are the same. And yeah, I got the video streaming up on our Piano Technicians Masterclass site as well. So sigh of relief.
You have me all excited, and I'd like to go right now.
Let's do it, man. Get into it.
All right. So I was going to, pull up some slides and stuff, but I'm not going to do that. Hi, everybody. Geez, how many of you out there from all over the world? This is deeply exciting. Ethan, you're crushing it. Thank you, brother. Thank you for all this. It's wonderful to be here with all these young and old geezers and piano nerds and piano wizards up here. And I really wish Sally Phillips and maybe Ashley Turner and some awesome women, Joyce Meekins, had been here, but here we are. I'm going to purportedly talk about voicing, and I will at some point. I want to talk about, though, something broader, which is the quality of the attention you pay to the work that you're doing, to the voicing, to the tuning, to the diagnosis. I'm talking about how to make a piano sing, how to take a piano from that's really good to, oh man, are you kidding me? Wow. And with a good piano that's been set up right and that's been given love and attention, then you can do that. And you can deeply satisfy the client and deeply satisfy yourself, which is, especially you're learning in these times, in these troubled times, that satisfying yourself maybe is a bigger deal than you thought. And one thing I want to talk about before we get into to voicing is that this is an incredible opportunity. The fact that most of us are working 20% of what we have worked for me 4 decades, 4.5 decades. It's a challenge because I know I have defined myself. I've discovered this to a much more profound level. I have seen my self-worth as, metaphorically bringing home the bacon or bringing home the dead animal slung over my shoulder. Look, see what I can do, and I'm good, and I'm useful, and I'm, bringing beauty, and I'm doing all this stuff. But now I'm sitting in my house. I was an early absolute quarantine adopter because I could die if I get this virus. So I've been in my house for almost a month. Tuning my own piano a couple of times, doing some other pianos in the back a couple of times. But it's a challenging time internally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. And it's, again, what are you paying attention to? we all look, everybody that I look through, I scan through and see all these pictures of people that are here. And it's like, how are you doing right now? Everybody looks pretty good. And they're in their house and they got food and the heat is on and they can go use a toilet and everybody's, right now, we're all good, right? So let's stay here. So the crown jewel of a piano, I would say, the crown jewel of preparing a piano is regulation, tuning, and voicing. And in that sense, that's that final, what, 5%, 10%, something, somewhere in there of work could take, you know, a while, could take a day or a little bit more, depending. How to make a piano sing, how to really get it to a point where you've allowed it to sustain to basically its maximum efficiency. You've allowed it to sustain and sing, and as Ace said, have those notes fly up into the air. Well, how do you do that? Well, you pay a lot of attention, and you see that regulation is voicing. And then tuning, especially when you tune, as Carl was referencing, not only for clarity and cleanness and stillness, but you tune for sustain. And I think that's what Ace was doing. He was tuning for, if you see me pulling my head over like this, it's because I got a stiff neck and this really helps. So bear with me. Ace was tuning for sustain. It gives you the illusion of still, but as Carl says, it's a little edge. It increases the sustain of the note, especially in octave 5, 6, 7. So, piano is in all its regulation sweet spots for that piano, which is specs plus specs, and then that particular keyframe, that particular action stack probably will deviate somewhat from some specs. And then you have it all beautiful. You have the key travel pretty standard throughout it all, a little bit more than 10. You have aftertouch, just feel as exact as you can get it between the sharps and the naturals. And everything feels good, everything feels buttery and nice. Then you tune it. And you tune it in the most custom, highly idealized way you can, by whatever protocol you use, based on what's challenging, empowering, and fun for you. Because what are you here for? Yes, we're here to be servants to other human beings, but we're here to live our own lives and to enjoy living in our own lives. So that tuning expands the ability of the piano to sustain. Then the final top of the shoulder voicing. That's really the final, the final step to really allowing the piano to sound like a major league recording. And that's what I always say. If you can make a piano sound like, wow, this sounds like something I've heard, in the past. So I'm encouraging everybody to see what I'm talking about, to get a sense, a visceral experience of what I'm talking about. I'm encouraging you to go to my website, davidandersonpianos.com. And my name is spelled with Anderson, S-E-N on the end, not S-O-N. Go to my website and go to the listen portion. and you'll hear 8, 9, 10 tracks, different pianos, about a half a dozen different pianos, all tuned and regulated, and in some cases rebuilt by my team, but certainly prepared for that performance and recording by me, including the tuning. And I want you to, and the voicing, and I want you to listen to the pianos. And I'm telling you now that my ideal, my holy grail of tone in my head compels me, in my body, in my being, compels me to try to get my pianos, the pianos that I maintain and mess around with, to sound like major league recordings that I've heard in the past. So you go to my website, listen to some tunes, and then send me an email, tell me how I do. So real quickly, the rest of my time, I'm going to try to show you a couple of techniques for the top of the shoulder that have worked. I learned one from Udo Steingraber and his head technician, who is now the head of production at the factory, named Alex Kirsten. And I learned the other one. I think maybe I saw Rick Balderson do something like it, and then I wasn't sure, but then I figured it out kind of in a way. And then in talking to other people, I know that I didn't invent it. I just stumbled across it. And it works in literally every high to mid tension compression hammer. And it works a vast majority of the time on low compression hammers, on Steinway hammers as well. So I'm just going to talk about it here. This, is a piano hammer that I've marked. And you see the church steeple in the middle? That is, yes, everybody see that?
Yeah.
All right. That's the sacred area in which, in my world, a needle is never enters that sacred area. Never, 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 never. And at the bottom of the sacred area, directly above, like 2 millimeters above the wooden molding tip, is where the heart, the engine of the hammer lies. I call it the pearl of doom, or the pearl of, it's just the pearl of energy. It's a little ball of compressed energy that's down at the bottom of that area that makes the whole hammer work. You never want to touch that. You never want to disturb that. That's what makes the hammer work. But all of the rest of the shoulder, from where the dots are all the way up to the top, has to be relatively soft and springy. So we're like assuming in this hammer that the bottom of the shoulder, from the dots, like from 9 and 3 on up to 11 or 11:30, are soft and nice and springy. Well, what if the hammer still hang, bang, sounds nasally, and there's literally and technically too many high partials? Well, you get one of these voicing tools and you roll it out. This is an adjustable one. And I use a 5 or 6 needle, however it's labeled by the maker, something in there. And this is 11 millimeters long. So what I want to do is put the needle as close to the sacred area without going in to the sacred area, right? So I want the needle to be right along the edges of the sacred area. So here's the bottom of the string cut, right? See the string cut? Cuts. I'm starting out at an angle to accommodate the sacred area right there. Close, but not in it. And I go to the bottom of the string cut and I basically let the needle fall into the hammer. If it doesn't fall into the hammer at the bottom of the string cut, along that same angle, so I'm not going into the sacred area. Can you all see this and understand and hear it? Just say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then I go 2 millimeters down the shoulder of the hammer, same angle, and go in. And if the hammer is, I just pulled this hammer off a relatively old Steinway D that we're rebuilding or restoring the keyframe in the shop. If it goes all the way in and comes back out, that's great. Walk back up a millimeter, do the same thing. My needle just fell out. Bring it all the way down and then all the way back up. And it's a feel thing. It's completely a feel thing. If the felt doesn't just kind of go, oh yes, come on in to the needle. No pressure at all. My hand can't use very much pressure because it's compromised with rheumatoid arthritis. And so you just got to let it fall in. You'll work it back up to the end of the string cut and it will fall in there. And it's about 3 stitches usually per string cut. And if you want a written step-by-step of this protocol, I'll be happy to send it to you. Just send me a note or PM me on Facebook or send me an email. Now, second technique, say you've got the shoulders all opened up, you've increased the sustain, you've brought out the fundamental, maybe you've obscured some high partials that were sounding like dog whistles and nasally sounds. Then the action's back in and you're seeing that there's a little attack difference from note to note. So this I learned from Udo Steingraber. You see the string cuts? I'm trying to get them. There. See the string cuts? Yes.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is put this through the. I've got a chopstick voicing tool, and I've made about a 10-degree bend, 12-degree bend in that needle upwards. So I can go down through the strings, and many pianos rest the tool on the edge of the plate under the strings. And what I'm doing is making a tube of air like that. Let me see if I can get it in there and show you. A tube of air under each string cut. Like that. I'm under the middle, came out. But just go a millimeter down from the string cut and start this needle in and just put it about halfway through. And what you're doing is you're putting a tube of air under each string cut. You're not destroying the string cut with a sugar coating thing. You're not disturbing the string cut because you need to have it there. what you're doing is making a tube of air, and I go in halfway first, and then on all three, and then come out and try the note. And it's an infallible way to get those final dog whistly high partials out and make every attack the exact, as exact as your ear can hear, to make each note sound the same on the attack. All right, so questions? Was I deeply confusing? You tell me.
I'll come in here and see if we got some questions for you. Let's see.
Hammer fit, good question.
Do you want me to read those, or you got that?
Yeah, go ahead. No, you read them.
Let's see here. Keep running away because people are adding more info. I would be happy to receive a complete procedure. As many other people here, I guess, is there any way to send it all to us?
Yes, Ethan, if you have, is there somehow archiving of all their names and emails, the registered people?
I have the emails of everyone, definitely that registered for a ticket, for sure, of that. Yeah.
And anybody that's not registered for a ticket that's watching in another realm, YouTube or whatever, can just look me up online and send me an email.
Yeah. And there's still open registration for tickets too, and I'll still update people who've registered after the fact, within a few days at least. Okay, got more things rolling in here. How does this technique affect hammer fit?
Great question. That's the first question. Yeah, but doesn't that mess up the fit of the hammer? No, it doesn't. Think about it. It's not. Try it. It's not changing anything if you get it right, except a teeny rise in the groove, in the height of the groove. It's just literally putting a cushion under the string cut. So I've done it thousands of times, and I've checked string fitting after that, and I've never, one time or two times, I've had to change a little bit, but just 5-10 minutes because the hammers were pushed up more than I thought they would or something like that, but usually not.
Okay, I've got just to pass it along, you might be seeing just other people have some positive comments. You're awesome, thanks, deeply enlightening, great tips, incredibly well explained. So that's good stuff. I won't take the time to list everybody's name in the interest of time, but if you want to hear them, let me know. Next question is Jonathan Cleghorn. What do you recommend if the hammer is very hard and does not want to accept the needle?
Great question. If it's very hard and does not want to accept the needle, and you've needled the lower, you've tried to needle it low and high, and that means there's some foreign substance usually, wouldn't you say, in the hammer, and you might have to wash that substance out with some lacquer thinner, some kind of solvent, because especially if the needle crunches when it goes in, that's when I start getting depressed. When you probably have to wash the hammers. Hard felt, you can pretty much always loosen up if you really work from the bottom up, and again, the two dots is what you put your needle towards. See the two dots under the steeple? I mean, on both sides of the hammer. That's what you aim for in the low shoulder. That's what you're trying to get to with your needle. And again, you're trying to just make it so the needle goes in easily to the low. And then as you get higher, it should get simpler. If you still can't get the needles in, then, you could try steaming the hammers and there's that is beyond the scope of this class to talk about a steaming protocol or washing the hammers in some kind of solvent. Does that help? Hope so.
Next one. Are you starting on the bridge side or the player side?
Great question. I'm starting on the player side with both techniques, with both protocols. And I'm doing, most of the time, I'm doing along the edge of the sacred area in the 3 front, right? Sometimes if I've determined after 2 or 3 hammers that it's tighter on one side than the other, which happens, then I go more on one side, on the tight side, and then slide it back in and see what happens. But yeah, front side first. And then if that's not enough, I do the same thing on the back side. Let the needle fall into the felt, and then if it doesn't fall in at the end of the string cut, I walk it down the back of the hammer, put it in, up, in, and then to the end of the string cut, and good hammers will fall right in. And it's the least damage you can do with the most effect of the protocol. So yeah, I don't do you can't do from the back with the chopstick voicing. I just put, I usually, unless it's really, really still too clangy, I usually just try to put a tube of air under the front of the string cut. If I need to, then, if I do need to do more, I do it again and put it all the way through, all the way underneath the entire length of the string cut, which shouldn't be longer than 3 or 4 millimeters at the most. Okay, next question.
There's certainly more here. Let's see here. Do you work with traditional Steinway hammers? How do you treat them differently?
I don't treat the shoulders any differently at all. Sometimes it's harder if somebody has really lacquered them up, but I just try to persevere. Sometimes on low compression hammers, if they're super, super, super bangy, you can go down in a high compression hammer, which is what is the absolute sacred area. You can go a little way further down directly on top of the strike point. Not all the way down to the ball of the pearl of doom or the pearl of energy, but certainly 2 or 3 millimeters down, straight into the strike point. If you're really having bang issues, clang, clang, bang, bang issues, you can't do it with other voicing protocols, with these 2 voicing protocols, then I've had success with going right through the strike point, down 2, 3, maximum 4 millimeters. That's the only difference that I use.
Awesome, thank you. Let's see here. Ooh, lots of questions to sift through here. Post a link to the info beneath the YouTube video. Okay, we might try to do that. Does the chopstick needle technique come in from the player side of the hammer or the bridge pin? We did that.
Yep.
Could you explain if or how you use that chopstick technique for fitting? Does that make sense? You were kind of, yeah. It says, could you explain if or how you use that chopstick technique for fitting?
Well, what I do is do a hammer fitting, like at sometime during the regulation, before the tuning, before the voicing. So hopefully the hammer fitting is good. I I check not every hammer, but I check some test hammers. I check 2 or 3 as I'm first doing it. I pull them up and check and make sure that they're still muted after I've done the tube of air under the string cut protocol. After I've stuck this needle in and made this tube of air under each string cut, I check and see. And as I said, a vast majority of the time, the string mating is still intact.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Alex Smith said, I've used your technique regularly and it works every time. Thanks, David.
You're welcome. That makes me now that makes my day.
There you go. I'll get through some of the positive comments here too. I wanted to get to the questions, but LJ Norelli says, lovely David, thank you for your time and expertise. You probably met LJ over there at
I did. LJ
Philly.
and I went deep, right, LJ?
There you go. iPad M says, would you post the complete procedures? Yeah, so we're getting a lot of questions for posting procedures. By the way, folks, I'll put a link in the chat here to the Piano Technicians Masterclasses site. If you're not already aware, we do stuff like this in greater detail, and we've been in David's house with a full camera crew, and hopefully we'll get there again later this year. So working on it.
So you can actually hear stuff.
Yeah, but we've got a few really affordable plans right now. You can check them out at that page, and feel free to sign up. And can bring you lots of cool stuff. Listening to the music on David's website has saved my soul. All right, look at that, David. You've saved some souls today.
Wow.
Let's see. Excellent answer. Thank you. Do you only chopstick from one side ever?
Yes. Because I would hurt myself if I tried to chopstick from the other side in the piano, and that's a bad scenario for me.
How long does it last? From Jeannie Grassi.
That's a fabulous question. Thank you. The beauty of this is if you go too far, put your thumb or a cloth, if your thumb is full of toxic oils, cloth on the string and just smack it hard, like 3 or 4 times, and it will kind of mitigate it. The chopstick voicing lasts in just regular human playing, I don't know, 12, 15 hours. In crazy freakazoid real player playing, certainly through the concert or the session or whatever. But, it's a technique I use all the time. I'm doing little chopstick voicing things on pianos all the time to even out the attack mode. Look, everybody, all players want the same thing, basically. A singing piano. They want sustain, air, angels, flying sound, whatever you want to say. Cathedral-esque sounds. But a jazz player may want a different attack mode. A rock and roll player may want a different attack mode, a different bang, That's what, basically, after you get the sustain cool, that's what voicing is. That to give the illusion of the attack mode on every note is the same. The illusion. And the illusion that the microphone picks up, which is really important.
So just an update here, by the way, we've been pushing 300 participants for a while, and actually that's our limit right now. I'm trying to figure out how to add more people, but we got people watching on YouTube, and there's a site where people can watch as well. So that's really great. Thanks for everyone being here. The next question here, you did the tunnel of air by punctioning the hammerhead from one side only. guess did we kind of already address that?
Yep.
Okay.
Again, you go a millimeter under the string cut and just create visualize it. I'm creating a tube, a cushion of air under the string cut.
And then I've used the air tube technique several dozen times. After learning it, it does wonders. That's Ron. Jim Rickson, what about needle pliers? Good or bad?
Needle pliers? Hey, whatever it takes. I've used them. I don't use them often because, thank God, I don't have to work on, pianos with, beyond space and time hard hammers. For really hard hammers, needle pliers are really good. And Jurgen at Pianoforte's got a killer pair.
And I'm guessing the steeple doesn't quite extend to the very tip of the hammer. What do you have to say about the forbidden point? Aren't you working just too close to the forbidden point, the tip of the hammer?
I am not working too close to the forbidden point at the tip of the hammer. I'm not going anywhere near the apex of that church steeple looking thing, that, long-sided triangle. I'm going on very close, within a millimeter, or sometimes about a millimeter of the sides of the sacred area, but I'm never going in it, ever.
Okay, what else do we got here? You aren't even 5 millimeters deep, JGI, you run the needle in perpendicular to, okay, somebody's just kind of giving you that. Those two dots look further away than 11 millimeters. Do you mean go in the direction of the dots?
No, the dots were there to explaining, if you have to, that's where all the needle ostensibly when you voice the lower shoulder, Renner in there, How to Voice the Renner Hammer, and everybody else says, aim for basically that point in the middle of the hammer when you're opening up the lower shoulders. Those dots don't apply to along the sacred area, down from angling on the, along the edge of the sacred area. Those dots don't mean anything.
Okay, the next one is, thank you for that, David. Presumably when you were talking about Steinway hammers, you mean US. Would you approach or change for Hamburg?
No. The Hamburg is a beautiful Renner, high compression, low heat hammer, so I'm good with that. These techniques work incredibly well. If you listen to any of the recordings on my site, you'll hear those hammers.
How are we doing on questions, by the way, David? There's a few more. Do you want to keep going with them?
I don't want to run too long. So
Okay.
pick out the most relevant ones, and then again, I invite anyone to call me, email me, text me, PM me on Facebook, whatever.
Yeah.
I love to answer questions.
And by the way, again, just to remind people, with the Piano Technicians Masterclasses, this is actually an interesting coincidence that we're doing this kind of meeting, because this is one of the new things that we're doing this year. Setting up some small groups, probably won't be as much as hundreds of people because we want to keep it intimate, calling them Piano Technician Masterminds. And David is running one of those Piano Technician Masterminds. That's more of a group thing though, so it's not like he's in charge of it per se, but he's going to participate, and we can get these small groups of people together. And I think it's perfect for this particular point in time. If you're not giving up on piano technology, right? I think some people are getting a little bit dire about it, but there's going to be the focus that get through this and come out, even better than before, after we get back to work. And it's those people, I think, that are focusing in and, collaborating with their colleagues and figuring out the best way through that are going to do well. Would you agree, David?
Absolutely, 100%.
Absolutely. Okay, so yeah, I think it'd probably be cool to we can start to move forward. The next thing on the agenda was the sort of group, like bring everybody on board and kind of have a big chat. We can still do Q&A. Maybe if there's questions that keep coming up on this, we can do it as well. Does that sound like a good next step?
Whatever you reckon, Bub. I don't want to short anybody that's at the end of this. So we could be getting enough interactive, I don't know. I don't want to short Arlen and Steve. I don't want to short anybody.
Well, at this point, let me see. As far as being on schedule, I think we're not particularly too far off if we were to start the group, the large group discussion, because that was scheduled for, I guess that was scheduled for 1:30 Eastern time. I guess, no. Okay, you're right. That was supposed to be before you. And so then the next thing that we have is not until it's at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So that would be Ken Eshte. So really we have about 15 minutes until then. And of course, why don't we, am I getting that right? I hope I am. So it's almost 2 p.m. my time, so almost 3 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, so why don't we bring everybody on for the group discussion? And then, Ken will be part of that. And so we can just let him tell us when he wants to get started and we can move forward. Does that sound good? Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I'll unmute Harlan Harris and Alan Rothschild. I guess I'll give some brief introductions to these people and they'll start talking and they can introduce themselves as well a little bit. Alan Rothschild is a piano tech over at Berklee College of Music there in Boston. And he's going to be here later on as well for the COT Roundtable at around 5 p.m. Eastern time. Harlan Harris is a seasoned piano tech who lives just outside of New York City. I know he's been in the local PTG chapter a few times and quite well experienced. He's going to be doing a talk with Steve Brady later on. And that one is also on voicing. We got a lot of voicing stuff today. So you'll walk away with some really cool stuff to try out for voicing. Let's see if I can, I know Ken Eshte's in here. Ken, are you able to talk? By the way, when I say your name, you can say hi for sure.
Hi.
Cool. Is that Ken? Who was that?
That was Arlen.
Oh, that was Arlen.
Say something. Ken has its on blocked. I think Ken is blocked.
Ken is blocked. He somehow figures out how to get. Let me see here. Let me get out to the large view. Here he is. There's Ken. I've unmuted Ken.
I think Steven.
All right, thank you.
Blocked.
There he is. Awesome. And Steve. Where's Steve? Okay. This is fun. View my managed participants. I'm gonna go with Steve. Stephen Brady, unmuted. Excellent. I don't know, is Mario in here yet? I don't know. You know what? We might have to kick some people out to get Mario in if he's not here yet. Because we, I don't know, I'll have to get in touch with him. So I don't think Mario's here yet. We've got Ken Eshte, David Anderson, Carl Lieberman. Is Sam in here? I don't see Sam actually. I wonder if they had a hard time joining. That's not good. Guys, am I missing anyone? Let me know. Okay. Well, let's get the current people a chance to chat, and then here, let me look in the chat for a second. Got a lot of messages coming in. Okay, somebody's get kicked out here. That's okay. Okay, the YouTube channel, the link's been put in there. All right, good stuff. Yeah, so we've got room for a couple more folks to come in. And do you know, Alan, is Sam going to participate in this, or is he just going to jump on later?
He's planning on jumping in later, I think.
Later, okay, good. So I just want to make sure.
I'll drop him a text just to check in.
Okay, and is anybody in touch with Mario Ekrek? I mean, I can call him just to make sure, but he may have actually tried to join and couldn't or something. Let's see if he emailed me. I don't see a message. Okay. I'd say at this point, I'll start to introduce the people a little bit more, and then I'll let the sort of discussion get started. Maybe leave it up to you folks to check the chat for comments and so on and so forth. Okay, so I have Harlan Harris, I introduced, he's outside of New York. I have Alan Rothschild, Stephen Brady. He's a tech out there in Seattle, Washington. And he's written a book called Under the Lid. He's taught many technicians. He's got a lineage of technicians over there that have learned from him. David Anderson, of course, you've just met. He's out there in Los Angeles, been tuning for as many years, and has a lot to offer, which you've already seen. And Ken Eshte I know from Northwestern University. When he was the tech there, I worked with him a little bit. He's been to New Zealand for a little bit after he left Northwestern. He's now lives out on the West Coast. You live in Washington State as well, right? Right, Ken?
Washington State, but I'm not on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast of Washington. So
Interesting. Okay.
we call that the salty side.
The salty side. Okay, nice. But not, East Coast of Washington State, not Washington, D.C. Okay, so and he's really into rebuilding a lot these days. He's got some content online around belly work that you guys should check out. You're welcome to post a link about that in the chat, Ken, or mention it. Some really great educational stuff he's put a lot of time into. And he's going to talk about Paraloid B72 later today. And Jude Reveley, is he still on, actually?
You got it muted.
I've got him muted. All right, let me. Where's Jude? View. Let's go for Jude. Jude Reveley's iPad, unmute. Jude, can you say something?
Oh, there I am.
Yeah, all right.
My fake.
Okay, so we got Jude, we got Carl.
I was
we got
hiding
David.
100 faces.
Is Carl unmuted? Let me get him. Oh,
And
let's
Sam is
unmute Carl.
on now, by the way.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, good. All right, so I got Jude, I got Carl, I got David, I've got Ken, I got Steve Brady, got Harlan Harris. The only ones missing are Mario Egrak and Sam Gilman. And,
Sam is actually
and he's
here.
not. Oh, he is here. Okay. Does he need me to add him, or does he have some weird phone name or something that I gotta figure out?
It's under his iPad's name, like technical name. He can probably just unmute himself at this point.
Let me see this. I'm gonna allow. Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna allow participants to unmute themselves. Okay, so Sam, you can do that yourself, and also Mario if you happen to be here. Yeah, and then nobody else, please. Okay.
All right, I'm unmuted. Hi, guys.
Hey there, how's it
Hey,
going?
Sam.
Sam is also a
Good.
tech over at Berklee College of Music. All right. Okay, so we all got on a test call on Thursday, and it was a really great. It was all a really great experience just to kind of have all these wonderful minds in piano technology together and talk about current circumstances and even just be in each other's presence. So we all agreed on that call that we should put some time into just having a group discussion, maybe a group Q&A. So actually, if you guys like, you can post a question. Like if you have any sort of general questions you want to put up to the group.
All right, everyone. Well, that was great. Sorry we have to leave us hanging there for the next section. Pretty great to kind of look back and remember that. And, there's always a silver lining to every cloud, right? So what a great opportunity to get a bunch of really great piano technicians together for a chat. I believe we'll have a guest next week. Still just making sure he can make it. So before I make it official, I won't mention who the guest is, but we should have an interesting guest to join us next week. But maybe in a future session, we'll go back and check out that that roundtable that happened on April 4th, 2020, because I was excited. I was excited to keep going. Anyways, folks, it's been really great. Thanks a lot for participating and being here and showing your support. And I think that's all we need to say for today. We'll see you next week, and have a great one.